What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for a last-minute UFC 303 picks and predictions video. Full disclosure, we're going to fire through these picks because we will be streaming all night UFC 303. So I will get to some of you guys' comments later in the predictions video, but I wanted to get this out there as soon as possible. It's been a crazy week with me covering a lot of NHL stuff and last night streaming the NHL draft. Hope you guys enjoyed all the great fight cards last night. Shout out to Ganskow and Karate Combat. That show was amazing. Let's get to the first card, or the first fight on this card as we go through all the fights, early prelims, all the way to the main event. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Ricky Simón versus Vinicius Oliveira. Ricky Simón 20-5 as a pro. He's coming in at the favorite here at -250. Out of Vancouver, Washington, he's 31 years of age, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He did lose his last 2. 6 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 10 decisions, 8-4 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, and 1-0 in Contender Series. He lost to Mario Bautista in his last fight and lost late in the fight against Song Yadong. Song Yadong knocking him out. Before then was on a great run, beating Jack Shore, Asuncao, Kelleher, at the time anyways, Kelleher was a tough opponent, but all tough opponents there, and was on a great 5-fight win streak. Still only 31 years of age, going up against Vinicius Oliveira, who broke the MMA social media scene with that amazing flying knee. Now, Sopaus did take that fight on short notice, and he was pretty gassed towards the end of that. He was going full Chelsea Chandler, running away before he got kneed in the fucking face. However, it was still a great knockout. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, and he is a finishing machine, ladies and gentlemen. Lock dog, 28 years of age, 16 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 2 decisions, 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. Like I said, great win in his last fight. It took him to the 3rd round to do it, though. Sopaus isn't necessarily a can by any means, especially going into that one. Was only 11-2, but he definitely was tired in that 3rd round. He definitely didn't have the same type of camp as Vinicius Oliveira. Before then, though, had a great win on Contender Series. Had a great win in UAE Warriors as well against a solid opponent. Look at all these finishes, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, very talented striker. Very dangerous fighter. I am going with the underdog on this one. I am going with Vinicius Oliveira. Now, I know Ricky Simón has good wrestling. He's well-rounded. He's a scrapper as well. He's just a solid fighter, and no wonder he's been in the UFC for a little while now. He does have the better grappling overall. Now, I know Brazilian. He was born in a gi. 2 stripes on his white belt. I get it. But I do like just the power, the strength, and just the style of Ricky Simón in the grappling department. More of that traditional wrestling versus flashier BJJ. But Vinicius Oliveira doesn't really even lean on that at all. Like I said, he's more of a dangerous striker, and he likes to keep the fights on the feet. He developed in some really good promotions. He has a good resume of opponents. Ricky Simón is tough, but he's not invincible. An older Uriah Faber finished him back in, 2018, 2019. Vinicius, I believe, is the underdog because people don't think he can finish Ricky, and probably don't think that he can maybe escape some of the ground control that Ricky Simón might throw on him. I predict this goes the distance, and Oliveira wins 2 rounds. I'm going with Oliveira via unanimous decision. Like I said in the opening frame, and I know more people are jumping in right now, we're firing through these picks because they are late. This is a last-minute picks and predictions video, so I won't be as interactive with the chat as I usually am, but I will try to get to some of your guys' comments at the end of this. We will be streaming UFC 303 throughout the entire card. Next one, we have Carlos Hernandez against Ray Tsuruya. Now, Ray Tsuruya solid opponent, and his last few fights have been against a really, really good competition. He's undefeated, 9-0 as a pro, and he's the heavy favorite coming into this one at minus 450. Carlos Hernandez, 9-3 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 30 years of age. Man, Tsuruya, only 22 years old. Now, he's a damn good wrestler. He's been ragdolling guys on the regional scene in Japan. And he also has some decent power in his shots, especially when he gets back control, back mount, and or full mount. 4 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 1 decision. That's what you like to see. 3-0 in deep, 3-0 in pancrase, 3-0 in road to UFC. And look at the guys that he's finished in road to UFC. 7-0 guy, 13-2. Went to a decision against a 9-1 guy. And even in his last fight in Pancrase, he went up against a pretty good opponent as well. I watched all of his deep fights preparing for this stream. He absolutely ragdolled these guys, but these guys didn't have the wrestling, didn't have the athleticism, didn't have just, well, I guess, athleticism that Carlos Hernandez has. Now, he's an athlete in all sports. And I know this personally because he's my roommate's friend, actually. They played college soccer together. He played a little bit of football growing up, baseball. He's American. He played all the sports in high school and football, and just more of an athlete. And he's a damn good wrestler as well. Now, Ray is bigger than him. You guys probably saw at the weigh-ins as well. He's just a bigger fighter. He's got a lot more muscle on him. But he's not going to be able to ragdoll Hernandez like he has ragdolled a lot of his last opponents. Again, Carlos Hernandez, resume in the UFC hasn't been that great upon coming in off Contender Series. 0 KO TKOs, but let's be honest. He basically got one. It was like the final second of the fight, and they deemed it, the end of the fight there. 4 submissions, 5 decisions, 2-2 in the UFC, 1-0 in LFA, 1-0 off Contender Series. Lost to Tatsuya Terra. That was just a huge step up in competition for him. Yeah, it was against Dennis Bondar. He should have won that one via TKO. Let's be perfectly honest. He absolutely destroyed him at the end. But you look at his last 2 UFC losses, Tatsuya Terra and Alan Nascimento. Those guys are solid and dangerous fighters. Before them was on a great run in HFC, LFA, Contender Series. But, Altamirano, good fighter as well, split decision. Contender Series, split decision. He's lucky that he got a contract coming out of that. So he doesn't have the punching power, but where I saw Tsuruya absolutely dominate his opponents was utilizing the wrestling, and I don't think he'll be able to do that to Carlos Hernandez. Not as easy as some of his other opponents, despite Carlos Hernandez being a little bit smaller than him. I guess we'll see who has the better striking if this fight is forced to be on the feet. I like Hernandez as an underdog here. I just don't think he's as much of a can as some of these guys that Tsuruya has crushed. Having said that, the guys that Tsuruya have beat on road to UFC were decent opponents, but I'm going with the underdog here. No bias. I've actually never even met Hernandez, but my roommate is rooting for him. Let's go, Carlos. This win will keep you in the UFC. He has insane cardio. He's a capable striker, good pocket, and dirty boxer. And like I said, the grappling will be the be-all and the be-all end-all in this one. Let's see how good it is against someone like Ray, who's just been ragdolling cans on the regional scene before entering road to UFC. Moving up the card here, and again, for those who just joined us in the live chat, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will be streaming UFC 303, and I will be getting to some of you guys' comments later in this stream, but I gotta plow through these picks and predictions as we are very late. This is a last-minute picks and predictions show. I was covering the NHL draft yesterday and doing a lot of prep for that show, so my apologies for not getting this out earlier, but I appreciate you guys in the live chat. Smash that like button. We'll obviously connect more and be more interactive on the actual fight companion. All right, moving up to the next fight. Andre Arlovski, yes, that is right. The former heavyweight champion in the UFC is still in the UFC. Well, he's still fighting, I should say. He's gone back and forth with the UFC. Andre Arlovski, Martin Budai. Budai actually used to be a hockey player, by the way, guys. He used to be a hockey player. But that's not necessarily why I might be picking him to win. I might have just given it away there. Martin Budai, 13-2 as a pro. He's the favorite coming into this one at minus 260, but only minus 260. There's some crazy odds on this one. Even the last one with Ray Tsuruya, But this one only coming in as a moderate minus 260. He's out of Slovakia, 32 years of age, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. 6 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 4 decisions. His story's pretty cool as well. Like I said, played hockey growing up, got a little too big and used martial arts to lose weight. Now he's still a heavyweight, but he's not the biggest heavyweight. You know, he's got a little muscle under there. 4-1 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. Pretty good finishing resume here. He's actually a pretty good grappler as well. Now, you might not have been convinced of that when he went up against Shamil Gaziev, as Gaziev beat him in the second round with some nasty elbows and punches as he was being controlled up against the cage. But he kind of just beat Budaj at his game, because that's where Budaj likes to wear people down, is up against the cage, kind of that Holly Holmes style. But if he does take you to the ground, he does have some good grappling for a heavyweight. I mean, he was able to submit Josh Parisian with the Kimura, and I've seen him try to go for arm submissions and just like ankle locks and things like that when he is rolling, despite only having 3 submissions in his pro MMA career. Look, he's beaten the lower end of the heavyweight division in the UFC, but he did go on a great win streak here, and you got to give him his flowers for that. And has knocked out some decent guys as well. Like when he was 7-1, he knocked out a 7-1 guy in Octagon in the second round. But he does like that Kimura, baby. He does like that Kimura. Andre Arlovski, what an absolute legend. It's insane that he's still fighting. 23-0 in his pro MMA career. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's only plus 210. Training out of Chicago, out of Belarus. Still out of American Top Team? I thought he was training I think he's been going back and forth. I know he's trained at that big gym in Chicago as well, but yeah, long-time American Top Team guy as his main gym. 17 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 14 decisions. Look, he's good at getting back up to his feet, but grappling has never been his strong suit. 12 times he's been knocked out now, and though like historically his chin's been like pretty good, as of late, it hasn't looked the best. 23 wins in the UFC, 17 losses, 1 no contest, 0-3 in Strikeforce, 2-1 in World Series of Fighting, and 1-1 in Affliction, to name a few, ladies and gentlemen. Lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta, but of course Acosta can't. I mean, this guy has no power at a heavyweight. It's actually quite embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. So obviously he wasn't going to finish Arlovski. Dontel Mays finished him, which that made me sad because I didn't think Dontel Mays had that great of finishing ability either as a heavyweight. And was able to be submitted by Rogerio de Lima. Before then, went on a pretty good streak here, but let's be honest, man. Like the Jake Collier win, that was a gift. Banderas, I mean, say what you want about that one. I honestly thought Arlovski might have won that one narrowly, but you know, split decision. He's been unanimous decision winning his last fights in the UFC, and they haven't been against the best opponents. Even the Chase Sherman one, those unanimous, like Chase Sherman definitely had moments in that one as well. I'm going Budaj. The only risk to this pick is if this does go the distance and Arlovski does look good in even just one round, Budaj might be robbed because the judges love to rob Arlovski's opponents when it goes to decision and it's not completely one-sided. But yeah, Budaj should be able to take the shots that Arlovski is throwing at this stage in his career. Budaj will likely pressure him up against the cage, land some short shots, take him down, ground and pound, or go for a Kimura or some sort of arm bar finish. And again, I see another wave of people coming to the stream here. Appreciate you guys. The last minute picks and predictions here. We're firing through them. Not a lot of interaction today in the live chat here because we're going to be hanging out with you guys all through UFC. I'll try to get to some of your guys' comments at the end of the stream here, but just want to give a big shout out to everybody who is here. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to smash that like button and let's continue. Michelle Waterson-Gomez against Jillian Robertson. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, the karate hottie, one of the women who paved the way for women's professional mixed martial arts. She's been doing it for a long time. She even fought a bully on Bully Beatdown back in the day too. But she has been on not the best run here as of late. She is 1-4 in her last 5 fights. But this just shows how bad Jillian Robertson is at MMA. She's tremendous at jiu-jitsu. But at MMA, the fact Michelle Waterson-Gomez is plus 155, given just how, let's be honest, bad she's looked in her last few fights, is embarrassing, to be quite honest. That just shows that Jillian Robertson has no striking ability at all, because look at the last few losses of Waterson-Gomez. TKO, split decision in this one, but it stayed on the feet, and it was a back and forth striking match for the most part. And she did actually have some good counter wrestling in this one. That is Michelle Waterson-Gomez. Amanda Lemos took her to the ground, submitted her, and Marina Rodriguez outstruck her in this one. Yeah, again, legend for women's mixed martial arts, as she helped pave the way early, but she's almost 40 years of age, and she's nearing the end of her career. In good shape still, though. In good shape. Didn't have any issues making weight from what I saw and read. 3 KO, TKO, 9 submissions, 6 decisions, 6-8 in the UFC, 3-1 in Invicta, and 1-0 in Strikeforce. We kind of went over her recent losses, and honestly, she should have lost this fight as well. Angela Hill did beat her. This was, and I don't say this word often, this was a fucking robbery. Her last good win was in 2019 against Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but that's when Kowalkiewicz was not doing well at all. Jillian Robertson, the savage, hardly a savage, and yeah, she's got tremendous grappling. She's got tremendous, not even grappling, she's got tremendous jiu-jitsu, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. 13-8 as a pro, trains at the Goat Shed, which is a good gym. 2 KO, TKO, 9 submissions. This is crazy. These are just because of ground and pound. 2 decisions, 10-6 in the UFC. Again, whenever she does grappling, she defeats big names. I cannot, I can believe she beat Poliana Viana, because Poliana Viana is not that great. Pierre Rodriguez, Agapova. She doesn't have any big names on her resume. She doesn't. And yeah, again, I really wanted to go with the underdog on this one, but I just think that Jillian Robertson will get this to the ground, either with some judo throw or getting the underhooks and just literally in ugly fashion dragging Michelle Waterson-Gomez to the ground. I don't think Jillian Robertson will shoot for any double legs, and she might try to go for the single leg and sweep. But Michelle Waterson-Gomez does have decent takedown defense. She has historically anyways. But I think Jillian Robertson will find some ugly or unique way to get her to the ground and then just work her magic on the ground, as her, again, jiu-jitsu is miles above that of Michelle Waterson-Gomez. This is not going to be a pretty one, ladies and gentlemen, as again, I've been more critical of Jillian Robertson despite picking her, but I believe in her jiu-jitsu against Michelle Waterson-Gomez, who's just way past her prime at this point. So going with Jillian Robertson, but yeah, it's just funny to me how the odds are this close. All right, moving up the card here. Payton Talbot against Yanis Gemori. We got some boxing odds in this one, ladies and gentlemen. Minus 1,600 for a prospect in MMA is absolutely insane, especially against a guy in Yanis Gemori who's pretty good. Now, is he as dangerous? Is he as polished? Has he defeated his opponents in the same type of fashion as Payton Talbot on the rise? No. But minus 1,600, that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. I swear, everybody who subscribed to his YouTube channel bet on him, honestly. Which his YouTube channel is really good. It reminds me of old school skate videos, like in the Jackass day. Really cool editing there. Yanis Gemori, 12-2 as a pro. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. 3 KO, 2 KO, 4 submission, 5 decisions, 0-1 in the UFC, 4-0 in LFC, 3-0 in Brave, and 2-1 in 100% fights. Now, on the rise, he did crush a lot of cans, but recently he has fought some good opponents. Yeah, he lost to William Gomez, which I'll say what you want about that, but he beat a 10-5 guy, 2 10-5 guys, a 9-3 guy, and an 8-1 guy in UAE Warriors and Brave. 2 really good leagues as well. And I think one of them was a split decision, which usually if you're the foreigner in UAE Warriors or Brave, you don't get that split decision unless you really, really deserved it. All right. I'm just going to say it. Whereas Payton Talbot, man, undefeated, 25 years of age, 6 KO, TKO, 1 submission, 1 decision. He gets angry when he doesn't finish his opponents, which is what I like. He's got that kind of killer instinct to him. 2-0 in the UFC, 1-0 off Contender Series. And his Contender Series fight, he went the distance against Reyes-Cortez. Reyes-Cortez is a dog. He could take a lot of damage and continue to step forward, but it was a clear win by Talbot. Great win against Nick Aguirre, and even better win against, a top prospect in the UFC in Cameron Simon. Before then, he primarily fought on Uriah Faber's A1 Combat, where he was knocking motherfuckers out, and a decent amateur career as well, going 5-0. I do have Payton Talbot to win this one. I think minus 600 or minus 1600 is crazy. Absolutely insane. This isn't boxing, but hey, a lot of people are high on this guy, and I am too. I have my notes here. What is this? Boxing? Look, he's a very good athlete overall. He played all sports growing up. You name it, American kid playing all the sports, and also wrestled when he was younger, so can lean on his wrestling and grappling if needed. But like you said, he likes to knock motherfuckers out. Solid striking, good power, can go to war back and forth. Has a pretty good chin, though it hasn't been tested that much at the highest level, or the highest level now. He's smart. He's composed. His wires don't cross, despite him trying to chase the finish at times. His opponent's no joke, though, and especially in his last 4 wins, has beaten decent opponents in tough leagues to go and fight in as a foreigner. And his opponent also has finishing ability, but not to the extent that Payton Talbot has, in my opinion. So yeah, going with Payton Talbot here. That is my pick. Again, big shout out to everyone joining us in the live chat here. I know we're usually a really interactive picks and predictions video. Obviously, I was busy prepping and covering the NHL draft this weekend last night, so this is coming very, very late. Usually we try to do these on Thursday, so we're just hammering through them here, and then we'll be back to be more interactive with you guys during the fight companion for UFC 303. So I appreciate you guys in the live chat. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and go check out the UFC 303 stream link as it's already posted there. Go smash the like button on that one. Okay, Charles Jourdain against Jean Silva. Silva missed weight, by the way. Silva missed weight, and I always forget how tall Charles Jourdain is. Now, tall for a 145er, I should say, but he was a lot taller and a lot lankier than Jean Silva, and I thought they would kind of be around the same size. Now, Jean Silva is an absolute killer, ladies and gentlemen. 12-2 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. And look at all these finishes. 9 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 1 decision. 1-0 in the UFC. Great win on Contender Series. And again, Weston Wilson is whatever. He knocked him out in the first round. He wasn't able to put out Kevin Vallejos, but Kevin Vallejos is good, man. Kevin Vallejos is good, and he's super tough. He 100% earned that victory against him, and Kevin Vallejos went back to, I think it was Budo Cento Championship in Argentina. Went back there, 2 or 3 fights, won the belt in that promotion, and he's probably on the list for UFC guys who take fights on short notice, I imagine. He's a tough son of a bitch. Definitely not as skilled as Silva, but that's the reason why he didn't knock him out. Before then, round 1 knockout, round 1 knockout, round 1 finish, round 1 knockout, round 1 knockout, round 1 submission, round 1 knockout. Like, this guy's been knocking motherfuckers out on the regional scene. Has a crazy win streak right now. Charles Jourdain, again, just never reached that ceiling, never reached that potential, is 500 in the UFC, but is still very talented. He just sometimes doesn't put it all together in fights. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He did lose his last fight. And though I think he had the game plan, where he had a good game plan, it just wasn't going to work against Sean Woodson, because Charles Jourdain, though he aims high with this fancy fucking spinning kicks and Superman punches and things like that, Sean Woodson is the Slender Man, dude, and he was too tall for him. He's too tall for him. But just couldn't execute against him. Overall, wasn't like the worst performance. 8 KO, TKO, never been knocked out. Remember that. Never been knocked out. 5 submissions, has only been submitted once. He's very well rounded. He's got good jiu-jitsu, he's got good wrestling, and he's got some fancy ass striking. He's just been on the losing end of a ton of decisions. Again, he's his own worst enemy there in the cage. 6-1 in the UFC, 8-1 in the former TKO. Again, lost to Sean Woodson. Split decision, which I thought was a little crazy. I thought Sean Woodson should have won that unanimous decision. Good win against Ricardo Ramos. Kron Gracie, I mean, I don't even want to say it was a good win just because Kron Gracie refused to fight. Decent performance against Nathaniel Wood, but just got outstruck there. And actually, it was a good fight against Shane Burgos as well. I believe that was Shane Burgos' last fight in the UFC. He just hasn't been able to put it all together, like I said, but does have all the talent in the world and has really good cardio, and he's a very good athlete as well. He just needs to fight a little smarter here. He's only 28 years of age as well, and I'm hoping that he's been able to tighten up his camp. Maybe, I don't even say get new trainers or anything like that, but I hope that his trainers, his coaches have really been on him to like follow the game plan. You got fancy shit. You got that talent there, and you have those skills and techniques in your back pocket always, but follow your game plan. And I feel like, and again, it's just my hope more than a prediction, I feel like he'll put together in this one. Jean Silva missed weight. All right. Jean Silva missed weight. And whether you guys want to see that as an advantage or a disadvantage, Charles Jourdain is a bigger guy in the division as well. And usually his weight cuts don't mess with him too much. If Charles Jourdain can get out of the first round here, I think he has a good chance against Jean Silva, because even in the Vallejos fight, Silva did slow down tremendously after, like a minute or two into the second round, where Charles Jourdain can continue to put on a pace, and the guy's never been knocked out. The guy can take damage, ladies and gentlemen, and honestly hasn't taken that much damage in his UFC career where you could say that, like, okay, it's one more shot and he's finally going to go out because he's been in all these wars. Good cardio. I think I covered everything in my notes here. Tries to be fancy versus following his game plan to win at times. Woodson is just kind of a bad matchup for anybody at 145. Though Jean Silva is dangerous, he missed weight, so I'm just interested to see if just that's going to affect him overall, especially just his cardio. Maybe he wasn't as prepared coming into this fight. Maybe his training camp wasn't the best. Again, those questions will be answered in the cage. When he goes up against tough guys like Vallejos, he can't finish them early. And I do think Charles Jourdain is a tough son of a bitch. Jourdain is more talented and more dangerous than Vallejos was as well. So like I said, if this gets past the first round, because Jean Silva, he can finish most people. He's very, very talented. He's very, very dangerous. But if this does get past the first round and Jean Silva starts huffing and puffing a bit, I think Jourdain will win via decision. Again, big shout out to everyone joining us in the live chat. You guys are awesome. Sorry we can't be as interactive in this stream, but I'll give a shout out to whoever's in the live chat still at the end here. We are going to be live for UFC 303. The stream is up. Go like it. We'll see you guys there, and we'll take all your comments in that one for sure. Just had to get this out there in the nick of time. Cub Swanson against Andre Fili. Two guys who are, quote unquote, past their prime. Two guys who have collectively, I believe it was 41 or 42 fights in the UFC, which is unbelievable. Big shout out to them. And Cub still got it. Now, is he a shout out of what he was? Absolutely. But Andre Fili is no spring chicken either. Andre Fili isn't what he was when he came into the UFC at a young age. But both of these guys like to scrap. So I actually think this is going to be a very fun fight. 23-11 for Andre Fili. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He gained a little bit of momentum, but then was knocked the fuck out by Dan Ige in his last fight. But he does have 10 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 10 decisions, 11-10-1 in the UFC. Generally puts on exciting fights, which is why he's been able to stay in the UFC for so long. 3-0 in Gladiator Challenge, 3-0 in West Coast Fighting Championship. Great win against Lucas Almeida. Awesome fight against Nathaniel Wood, man. Awesome fight against Nathaniel Wood. I honestly thought that should have been like a split decision. But regardless, it was a good fight. They each knocked each other down. That one was an absolute war. I really, really enjoyed that fight, and a great win against Bill Algeo as well. Like I said, he gained a little bit momentum after these 2 fights. After these 3 fights, and poof, all gone after that Dan Ige fight. But Cub Swanson, man, despite him getting up there in age, despite him not being as quick anymore, he's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and his 2 losses weren't knockout, right? Body kicks and ground and pound, and leg kicks leg kick KO TKO by Jonathan Martinez. It's not like his chin is fading, right? It's not like his chin is fading. So I like the odds on these ones as well. But Cub is 40 years of age, right? So like I understand why a lot of people are going with Andre Fili, who I do think is a little bit more chinny than Cub, even at this stage in his career. But will Cub knock him out? I'm not leaning that direction. 12 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 12 decisions, 14-9 in the UFC, 5-3 in the WEC. Dude, what an absolute beauty. Great win against Hakeem Dawodu in his last fight. Dawodu he's good. He's not great, but he's good. That's a good name to still beat in your late 30s, early 40s. Again, Jonathan Martinez didn't knock him out. He beat Darren Elkins, what he should have. And Darren Elkins is an older guy as well, and he was actually able to knock him the fuck out with that beautiful combination. Lost to Giga Jikaze due to kicks again. Daniel Pineda, Grace, who the fuck cares about that one? Did go on a pretty bad losing streak here, but against guys at the top of the division. Brian Ortega, Frankie Edgar, who was at the top of the division at that time. Hinato Moicano, young prospect coming up, and Shane Burgos. And he went to a split decision with Shane Burgos as well. I'm going Andre Fili on this one. I don't think he's going to knock out Cub Swanson. I honestly see this fight going similar to how the Nathaniel Wood fight went. I see it being back and forth. Maybe they each rock each other a few times, but I think this will just be a very entertaining back and forth wars. I think Andre Fili wins at least 2 of the rounds, or wins 2 out of the 3 rounds though. And I even have that in my notes. Yeah, I believe this is going to go like the Nathaniel Wood fight. Cub, even at 40, doesn't get KO'd easy. Both past their prime, but still love to bang. Let me bang, bro. Philly's a little chinny, but I don't think Cub just has the power to knock him out clean. I don't think he has that overhand power that Dan Ige has, but I'm going with Andre Fili on this one. All right, moving up the card, we got Be Like Joe Pyfer. Be like Joe Pyfer, except in his last fight. Do not be like Joe Pyfer in his last fight against Marc-André Barriault. Like, I like the way Marc-André Barriault fights. I just wish he had a little bit more power in his shots, because his striking isn't the greatest, but if he had some more power in it, he'd be so much more dangerous. He generally goes balls to the wall. He's got a lot of heart, and he's tough. He's not the most polished and skilled fighter, though, but neither is Joe Pyfer in anything but the striking department. Let's be perfectly honest. And Joe Pyfer, when we saw him go the distance, now it was 5 rounds, but let's be honest, he slowed down in the 3rd. When he goes the distance, he's not as dangerous. And if you can evade those big shots early, you can outpace him to a victory, even if you're fighting on the back foot, or if you're the one walking forward, pushing the pace. And Marc-André Barriault, not like the greatest cardio either, but the first 2 rounds, you're in for one. And he's gonna hang till the end, even if he's dead fucking tired. Marc-André Barriault, 16-7 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He did lose his last fight, a very close decision to Chris Curtis, and that was an awesome fight. Did that fight not win fight of the night? I remember that one being a good one. A lot of people are ripping on it, but I remember it being a good fight. It was just a little sloppy. He's out of Kill Cliff, 10 KO TKO, 1 submission, 5 decision, 5-6-1 in the UFC, 6-0 in TKO, 3-0 in Ligue d'Arts Martiaux Mixte du Québec, and 2-1 in Hybrid Combat Promotions. Again, good fight against Chris Curtis. Look, say what you want about Eric Anders at this stage in his career. He's still staying active, especially in the grappling department. So wasn't the most polished win, wasn't the best win, but wasn't a bad win by any means. Was able to put out Julian Marquez. Lost to Anthony Hernandez, but Anthony Hernandez is a dark horse in this fucking division. He's very, very good. Beat Jordan Wright. Lost to Cheating Chukwani. Look, whenever he takes a step up in competition, he seemingly loses, but he's one of those guys who's decent outside the top 15. And honestly, a win over Joe Pyfer, or Joe Pyfer getting a win against Marc-André Barriault, it's going to elevate them a little bit, because Joe Pyfer coming into this one, other than Jack Hermanson, has he really fought any names in the UFC? I'll answer that. No, he has not. Now, he's 27 years of age, so he can still polish things up, and he's out of a great gym with great training partners there in Philly. 8 KO TKO, hence the name Body Bags. 3 submissions, 1 decisions, 3-1 in the UFC, 1-1 off Contender Series. Looked good earlier in this fight, and then it was over, man. That pace that Jack Hermanson hit, do not be hit. It was a beautiful game plan, and Jack Hermanson absolutely schooled him, right? Step up in competition. He beat Razak Al-Hassan, who is still the post-fight speed goat in my opinion. Gerald Meerschaert, you know what I should say? GM3 was a good win. GM3 was a good win. I should value that one higher than that of Marc-André Barriault. So there's that one. But the rest of them, bro, like, are we serious here? Are we serious here? I ain't. Man. I don't think Pyfer's going to knock out Marc-André Barriault, so I do think that there's a chance that he just outworks him. I really do. Now, a chance, and I'm going to fucking go with that chance, and if Marc-André Barriault loses, I'm never picking you again to win, brother. I'm never picking you to win again if you get knocked out by freaking Be Like Joe Pyfer. Pyfer's cardio, which he did say was addressed in his pre-fight speech, but like, what is he going to say? Oh yeah, I have bad cardio, I don't give a shit. No, he's going to talk about him working on his stuff, and I know he was dealing with some illness going into that one. Again, my questions will be answered in the octagon, but from what I saw in the last fight, what have you done for me lately? His cardio was exposed. Marc-André Barriault is very durable. He's got a lot of heart. He pushes the pace early, and even if he gasses, even if his power bar goes to 0, he still is there hanging around, tough to put away in late and third rounds. And he doesn't get KO'd easily. Pyfer, though, is super tough and has that KO power. Barriault has good grappling. Honestly, I think better grappling than Joe Pyfer, but is he stronger than him in that department in the wrestling? Again, we shall see. I tend to think he does. Barriault's a dog. Like I said, lost a pretty close decision to Chris Curtis in his last fight. Neither beaten the best guys. Pyfer, again, GM3, the best name on his resume, in my opinion. This is a tough opponent for each, and I do think a win against either will continue to elevate their stock. But I'm going with the Marc-André Barriault. Tabarnak, Quebec is back. All right. People's main event coming up here. And again, big shout out to everyone in the live chat here. Sorry, I can't be more interactive. We got to power through these. And then I'll be back in, less than 2 hours for UFC 303 watch party. But I will give a shout out to the people in the live chat at the end of the stream who are still hanging out with us. But I see the live chat's buzzing right now. So, I mean, shout out to you guys who are talking amongst yourselves, giving your opinions on this card as well. It's super cool, the community that we're building here, and I appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, Ian Machado, Garry against Michael Venom Page, MVP 22-2 as a pro. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 37 years of age, but he doesn't move like a 37-year-old. He is still lightning fast in the cage. 12 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 6 decisions. Only been knocked out once. Again, he's not chinny. He's only been knocked out once, and it's because he was playing with his food a little bit against Diego Lima. He fought bare knuckle with Mike Perry, and they forced overtime. This guy does not have a weak chin. This guy is tough, man. He's, despite him being a little bit flamboyant there in the cage with some of his antics, he's a tough son of a bitch. 4 submissions, 6 decisions. Actually has a little bit of wrestling in his arsenal as well. And jiu-jitsu, but is it better than Ian Garry's? I don't think better. They're probably at the same level, though, in that department. 17-2 in Bellator, 1-0 in the UFC. Schooling Kevin Holland in the striking department. Absolutely destroyed the knee of Gyoti Yamauchi. Logan Storley out-wrestled him, but to a split decision. Logan Storley's supposed to be like one of the best wrestlers in Bellator/PFL, right? Split decision, man. Split decision. So you got to take that for what it is as well. And I honestly think he should have beat Mike Perry in this one, but he gained my respect more. Like, I was always like meh on MVP. Like, it was fun to watch, don't get me wrong, but that fight against Mike Perry and BKFC, now I have respect for MVP. That was a fucking amazing fight, ladies and gentlemen. Got his loss back against Diego Lima and went on a great run in Bellator. Now, against lesser opponents, I get it, but not horrendous opponents, okay? Except for this guy. Like, what the fuck here? What the fuck? The rest are actually pretty decent opponents. Ian Machado, Garry, undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. Undefeated, 14-0. I would honestly argue that Ian Garry's a little bit more chinny than that of MVP, as we've seen him get rocked in fights against guys who you don't expect him to get rocked against. And again, like a couple times. 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 6 decision. This is likely going to stay on the feet, and I cannot wait for this one. 7-0 in the UFC, 7-0 in Cage Wars. I mean, if Jeff Neal, if Jeff Neal just had a little bit more pop in his step, you know what I mean? If Jeff Neal was a little bit longer and would have been able to, instead of going in and out of the pocket, but able to actually get a range game going a little bit more, Jeff Neal wins that fight. It was a split decision. And I don't think this was Jeff Neal's best performance by any means. If anything, this wasn't a good performance by Jeff Neal, and he still almost won that fight. Now, I do think the right guy won that one as I rewatched it earlier today, but still, like, I was way more critical of Jeff Neal when I was watching it live, and it wasn't a good fight from him, but I was like, oh man, like, he was closer than I thought to winning that one. Neil Magny, fuck Ian Machado Garry for what he said about Neil Magny, but yeah, he absolutely dominated him. Daniel Rodriguez, that was a great knockout by Ian Machado Garry in that one. Cannon Song fucking almost beat him, man. He had him on fucking skates. He had him seeing the Tweety Birds. He had him thinking that he was training in Brazil, not in an octagon. And again, some of the other names that he has on his resume, they aren't that great, man. People are saying, oh, MVP crushed a lot of cans. Well, I mean, really? Really? Look at Ian Machado Garry's record as well. Dude, I'm going MVP on this one. Now, could Ian Machado Garry land a nice head kick? That will probably knock out Venom Page because a shin to the dome will do that. But straight punches? Nah, man. I don't think so. I really don't think so. MVP has more experience. He's tough to game plan for. He's stupidly fast in the cage. His distance control is on point. He doesn't get KO'd easy. He's pretty durable. Garry doesn't have the best KO power. He's more of a technical striker, and I think MVP is a more technical striker than him. Both of them can grapple, though, but I don't know who sets it up first. If anything, Garry might try to pin him up against the cage and employ some dirty boxing and take away his range, which I think would be the best game plan against someone as long as Michael Venom Page. And Garry has been rocked more, man. He has recently as well than MVP. So I'm going Venom Page on this one. All right, moving up the card here, we got a few more, ladies and gentlemen. Mayra Bueno Silva against Macy Chiasson. I think Macy Chiasson wins this one. Mayra Bueno Silva has power, which we've seen earlier in her career, but now just refuses to use it. Goes for the safe wins, the boring wins. And honestly, that's a style that Macy Chiasson is good at as well. So I don't think Mayra Bueno Silva will be able to fight fire with fire on this one. Macy Chiasson is not horrible either. In my opinion, she has better wins overall in her career. The Norma Dumont win was a good one. She was beating Irene Aldana, guys, before Irene Aldana kind of got that fluky upkick. Now, again, was it really a fluke? No, but like, we don't see those often for a reason. It wasn't even an upkick to the face. It was a right to the liver, which again, shout out to Irene Aldana. Awesome KO TKO there. But still, Macy Chiasson was winning that one. 2-2 in her last 4 fights. They kind of fight the same. They're both heavier 135ers. I mean, Macy Chiasson has missed weight before, coming in camp a little too heavy. 7-3 in the UFC. You know, actually pretty balanced here overall. But yeah, I got Macy Chiasson winning this one, man. I don't think Mayra Bueno Silva will be able to do what she did to Lena Landsberg, Stephanie Yeager, Holly Holm. In this one, I think, Raquel Pennington is a good example of using Mayra Bueno Silva's game plan against her. And I feel like Chiasson will do the same. Underrated grappling and better technical striking, but she does have power in her back pocket. We just haven't seen it. In a long time. So anyways, going with Macy Chiasson on this one. What do I have? Yeah, better. I think she's better everywhere except just power, but let's see Mayra Bueno Silva just starts throwing some big shots. Macy Chiasson's well-rounded, fought better opponents, in my opinion. Just as strong as Mayra. It's beating Aldana. Yeah, I think this is going to be a predictable decision. Whoever gets the most control time and short shots up against the cage will win this one, and I think that will be Macy Chiasson. All right, Anthony Smith against Roman Dolidze. The fight that was thrown together quicker than I threw together this impromptu live stream. Roman Dolidze against Anthony Smith. Is hiking Roman Dolidze a mythical creature? Is drinking tea in the mountains, making your own fire to boil the water? Is Roman Dolidze a mythical creature now? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. 12-3 as a pro. He is 3-2 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight losing streak. Loved his performance against Marvin Vettori despite him losing. It was a fun back and forth war. Both of them slowed down at like the same pace. So rewatching that fight, it just seemed like they each just were going balls to the wall till the end. And they were. And it was a respectable fight, even in a loss. His last fight, though, atrocious, an embarrassment to the sport of mixed martial arts. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive him for that. Unless he straight up one punch knockout to Anthony Smith, I do not think I will ever forgive Roman Dolidze for that horrendous performance. Sure, he lasted, but I think that's more on Imavov for just not being great either. And in that particular fight towards the end there and not finishing him, because that was just, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. It was a disgrace to the UFC, and it was a disgrace to mixed martial arts. And it was just so bad. It was just so bad. And on the other hand, what the fuck, Anthony Smith taking out the prospect, the huge favorite, Vitor Petrino in his last fight, as Vitor Petrino just, lowered his fight IQ a couple thousand notches there and basically let Anthony Smith wrap up the guillotine. But what that does say is Anthony Smith does have good jiu-jitsu, does have good grappling. We just don't see it often because he likes to go to war. He likes to stand and beg. He likes to fight, right? And look, you got to give him his flowers, man. He's been fighting for so long. 37-19 as a pro. Factory X guy as well. 9 KO, TKO, 15 submission, 3 decision. 13-9 in the UFC, 2-2 in Strikeforce, 2-0 in Bellator. Again, Khalil Roundtree absolutely dominated him. He beat Ryan Spann, I think, fairly, even though it was a split decision. I had Anthony Smith winning that one, and the Petrino win is like, let's fucking go, dude. Let's fucking go. He wasn't able to put out Johnny Walker with the old gloves, so that's a little concerning there. You're attacking my family. And Ankalaev actually tore freaking through him. This will never age well, getting submitted by Ryan Spann. But yeah, Roman Dolidze, I used to root for him. I used to think he was more of a savage, but I think last fight he was absolutely exposed. Now, he has been in a training camp. He has been active and staying in shape, which is something that I don't know if Anthony Smith does. Shout out to the Moscow Mules. But he did take his foot off the gas because he was supposed to fight, what was it, like a month ago or so? He went back home and then took this fight on extremely short notice. And the one thing that I think him and his camp do have on Anthony Smith is Anthony Smith has trained with Eric Nixick quite a bit, and that's Roman Dolidze's head coach. And I was watching the Embedded series, and even Eric Nixick said, like, I know a lot about Anthony Smith, so I think we are going to have the advantage here. Just coaching, putting together a last-minute game plan against him. Having said that, again, what have you done for me lately? I cannot pick Roman Dolidze to win this one, even if it's against Anthony Smith. I can't. I cannot pick someone who had that much of a disgraceful performance that Dolidze had in his last fight. So I'm going Anthony Smith on this one. But honestly, who the fuck cares? They're both going to gas out so quickly. This fight is going to be absolutely awful, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Smith by submission, maybe? We'll see. This fight's going to suck. Let's move on to the next one. Brian Ortega against Diego Lopes. Another fight that was thrown together last minute that on the opposite end, I don't think is going to suck. Brian Ortega, though, was unable to make 145. Diego Lopes was depleting himself and made the weight, had already made the weight going to bed, was awoken by the UFC at 3 a.m., was told that T-City was unable to make the weight, and they either had to fight at 155 or the fight would have been canceled. Diego Lopes, being the fucking Chad that he is, decided to take the fight at 155. Apparently his weight cuts aren't super grueling, though, as he stays in really good shape. I mean, we've seen like him just absolutely shredded weeks before this fight was even announced. So he does stay in shape. And on the other side of things, Brian Ortega was preparing his body and doing a lot more strength and conditioning to move up to 155. Diego Lopes, a 4-1 in his last 5 fights, 3 fights in a row. He is the favorite at minus 140. And even when they had their weigh-ins, Ortega didn't look much bigger at all. If anything, Diego Lopes still looked bigger, swoller, stronger. 10 KO TKO, 12 submissions, 2 decisions. Fucking love that. And he's fought everywhere and everyone. 3-1 in the UFC, 0-1 in ACB, 0-1 Contender Series. Absolutely destroyed Sadiq Youssef. Absolutely destroyed Pat Sabatini. Absolutely destroyed Gavin Tucker. And almost destroyed the knee of Evloev. Actually, he did destroy the knee, but if he had more time on the clock there, he probably would have finished that fight. Taking that fight on, what was it, like less than 14 days notice. It's like 12 or 14 days notice. Lit up the regional scene as well. Yeah, he fought some cans. Yeah, he lost some fights he probably shouldn't have, but still, man, this guy is still relatively young, has a stupid amount of experience, has gone on some big win streaks, and knows how to lose as well. Is this a great matchup for him? I think so. I think it's a great matchup for both these guys. I think it's a great matchup for the fans, and this is his best test in the UFC thus far. I mean, outside of Evloev that he, took on short notice. Where's T-City at in his career? Is he injured coming into this one? Is he gonna hurt his knee or ankle jumping around in the cage? We shall see. Now, I did love Brian Ortega's win against Yair Rodriguez. I did not see that coming. Again, the one before then was, his shoulder popped. I mean, this guy just can't avoid injuries in the cage. It's absolutely insane. You got to give him credit for that fight against Alexander Volkanovski. Now, sure, maybe if it wasn't a title fight, and the headliner, maybe the ref or the doctor would have stopped it. Shout out to Herb Dean because of his eye, but he's a dog and he doesn't get finished easily. 33 years of age, so he's not super old either. Getting a little bit stronger, as I said, eating less, because he said he loves his Mexican food, eating less Mexican food, trying not to be the new Kelvin Gastelum, but moving and strengthening his body to get up to 155, putting on a little bit more muscle. 3 KO, TKO, 8 submission, 5 decision. Both of them are nasty in submissions. And Brian Ortega, despite him not having the best boxing, he can hang with the top of the division on his feet. He earned himself a title shot. I mean, he was losing this fight, but what a comeback. What a comeback. He was losing it early and then, was able to come back in that one and actually piece up the Korean Zombie, which was awesome. Lost to Max Holloway, which no shame in that. Got a little boxing lesson from him. And what a win streak to earn that fight against Max Holloway as well. Against Frankie Edgar back in 2018 was still top of his division. Cub Swanson was in his prime. Nato Moicano was coming up. Clay Guida, whatever, but Diego Brandao, solid veteran at that time as well. So his resume is not super decorated, but neither is Diego Lopez's. But I do like Diego Lopes in this one. He hits hard. He has better boxing, even though it looks a little wild. I do think it's better than Ortega's. Both of them have amazing BJJ. Even though Ortega didn't make 145, I think Diego will be stronger overall. Both are very tough and hard to finish. Diego Lopes has more KO power, and I think overall is just more of a finishing threat. Now, T-City on the ground, you're going to get triangle choked. Unless you're Volkanovski, then you can't get finished. But still, I just think overall, like looking at all the martial arts, Diego Lopes is a more dangerous finisher. But yeah, both have insane grappling, and this is going to be a fun one. But I'm going Diego Lopes. All right. Main event of the evening that was also thrown together on short notice. This is the short notice thrown together 303 card. Jiří Procházka against Alex Pereira 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Jiří Procházka 34-1 in his pro MMA career. 31 years of age. Karate fighter, Muay Thai fighter, now MMA fighter, longtime MMA fighter now. He had a 3-fight win streak before losing to Alex Pereira in the UFC, and then came back strong against Alexander Rakic. He was the Ryzen champion, and he had some amazing performances in Japan as well. One of the highest finish rates, if not the highest finish rate in the UFC. 26 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 1 decision, 11-1 in Ryzen, 4-1 in the UFC. He beat Alexander Rakic. He gave us a little bit of a scare, bobbing his head in range as he always does, but was able to come back and absolutely decimate Rakic. His loss to Pereira, I think a lot of people just remember, oh, he got knocked out by Pereira in that one, but like it wasn't one-sided. He looked good in the first. He looked good in the first round. Did Jiří, but he was getting his legs kicked. He was getting his legs chopped, but it wasn't like it was, like I said, one-sided there. Jiří had his moments as well, and I think he was being a little stubborn, not wanting to maybe entertain grappling, an offensive grappling game plan at all. Now, is he going to do it in this fight? I don't know, but you got to think that his coaches are like, look, that's in your back pocket, and if you take one and don't get knocked down, like maybe you lean on that a little bit, because he does have underrated grappling, which for those of you who watched him in Ryzen, definitely showed that off in that promotion. And subbing Glover Teixeira, now a tired Glover Teixeira, but still. Alex Payton Pereira, 10-2, has already been a double champ. Well, won belts, I should say, in 2 divisions in the UFC. Unbelievable Glory kickboxer, which he won belts in 2 divisions in Glory as well. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now, this wasn't the most pretty fight against Jan Blachowicz. I will say, like, his grappling was exposed a little bit, but he hung in there. I was able to KO Jiří Procházka. And the Jamal Hill one was awesome. Getting kicked in the balls, saying, fuck off Herb Dean, and then just knocking him out. I mean, I just want a trilogy. So I'm so torn on this pick. Like, I'm no fucking expert anyways. So you guys are everybody in the live chat knows more about the sport than I do. You guys are way better MMA gamblers than I am. You guys are the experts. I am not. I'm just a super fan of this sport that we call mixed martial arts. And because of that, I just want to see a trilogy. I'm so torn on this one. I almost was just like, cop out. I'm not going to make a pick, but I got to. This is a picks and predictions video. So I'm picking Jiří Procházka. We need the trilogy. And the few things I will say to try to back up that, because I know everyone in the live chat right now is saying, Isha, you're a fucking idiot. Fuck you. You don't know shit. I haven't been reading them, but I'm assuming that's what you're saying in the live chat. As soon as his fight ended with Rakic, and though he took some damage in that one, he did what Jiří Procházka does. Went back into the woods, went back to training. And he stayed in shape. And I'm not saying Alex Pereira is out of shape, but Alex Pereira nursing toe injuries that he had in the Jamal Hill fight. So who knows if he's going to utilize the same game plan he used against Jiří Procházka in their first fight in spamming leg kicks as much, or just kicking as much. Payton has been touring the world. He was in Australia when he got this call, and still training, obviously, because his coach in his camp said that he has been staying around that 205 weight limit, and he weighed in, actually was a half a pound under coming in. Didn't even just hit championship weight. He was a little bit under championship weight, which was good to see. And the first fight, like I said, wasn't completely one-sided. Jiří was also coming off the biggest layoff of his career and coming off the worst injury of his career, and came back like right when the doc cleared him to start like training and said, like, you can fight again. Like, it might have been a month or 2 premature. It might have, keyword might. I am predicting that Jiří will have a more of a complete game plan, maybe lean on his grappling a little bit more. But guys, this is Payton. It only takes one fucking left hook to put any man down. I doubt Jiří will take as many kicks as in his last fight, and I think he'll come in this one just a little bit more complete, even if it's just from a training perspective. But what do I know? I just want to see the trilogy. Quickly, the safe. I got my safe and degenerate parlay of the week brought to you by my friend Volkan. Safe parlay, we're going Martin Buday, Payton Talbot, Diego Lopes. Degenerate, this one was actually I don't want to say tough, but there were different options, but I went with these 3. MVP, Marc-André Barriault, and Carlos Hernandez is my degenerate parlay of the week. Smash that like button and subscribe, and we will see you on the watch party for UFC 303. Now, I'll just give a shout out to some of the people in the live chat here. What is up, Nate Brown? What is up, Amberly? What is up at Timo? Yeah, exactly. It's hard to be confident. What's up, Andrew G? What's up, Meridian Heights? What's up, Austin Malley? Kane? Who else is here? Euphoric Notes, good to see you. What's up, West Coast? What's up, Volcan? What's up, Hank the Tank? What's up, my TZ? What's up, my TZ? What's up, Brandor? Good to see you guys. Who else is here? What's up, Believe in One? Good to see you as well. What's up, JL? What's up, Ilcat? Thank you guys so much. Just giving everybody a shout out who hung out with me through this one. Sorry I couldn't be more interactive. Just scrolling up to see who else joined us. And again, I will be covering the entire UFC 303 card, so I hope to see you guys there. What's up, Manash? Good to see you. Man, we had the whole crew in for this one. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Zero Bob. Good to see you, Zero Bob. I'm literally just scrolling up in my live chat right now, trying to give everybody a shout out. John, good to see you, John. Thank you so much for joining, buddy. Appreciate you. Slave Farmer. All right, shout out to you, Slave Farmer. Good to see you. I'm not 40 years of age, though I probably look it now. I only have one gray hair, but thank you for that. Anthony, Sean, Spencer, Slappy, good to see you, Slappy. Shane was here as well. I think that's everybody. That's Gambling Baby. Spyro, good to see you. Boone, good to see you as well. Hernan, Fight Society. Good to see you as well. HM was here. Good to see you too. Yeah, there you go. And by the way, so far the highlight of the weekend, the president of Karate Combat getting in a post-fight brawl and choking out one of the trainers who was causing mayhem. That was amazing. That was amazing. That was so far the... And what's up, Joshua? Good to see you too. That was the freaking highlight of the weekend thus far. Yeah, we talk about hockey, Josh. We talk about hockey. We post clips on that hockey channel every single day. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Next week, I might be away next week because 4th of July. But usually like 80% of the times, even, 89% of the times that we do these predictions videos, we're totally interactive. We go through a few picks, then I go back to the live chat. What's up, Sigma? And I go back to the live chat. Sorry, couldn't be as interactive here today. What's up, Kenneth? Good to see you. I just had to get through these. These were last minute. I wanted to get this video up before UFC 303. And yeah, we'll be back to be more interactive with you guys in a fight companion soon, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you to everybody who hung out with us here today. Good luck on your picks. Good luck on your parlays. Good luck on your bets. And, I think this is going to be a good card, man. I think this is going to be a card. Oh, what's up, Stess? You're here as well. Good to see you too. Handsome and Hung, good to see you as well. Where can we see the entire prediction? Here, buddy. On this, what are you talking about? Bro, this was literally an entire picks and predictions video, my man. Rewind the tape. Back in about an hour and a half-ish for UFC 303. The link is already up. I will share it with you guys before we hang up the gloves for this one. And again, my apologies for not being as interactive as we usually are throughout these picks and predictions video. We'll do it next time. But I wanted to get this out for you guys like I promised. And what's up, Believe in One? Dude, bro. Hey man, where can I watch your YouTube channel, right? There's the Fight Companion stream link, guys. And that is it. That is the show. And yeah, we will see you for the UFC 303 Fight Companion in about an hour and a half, ladies and gentlemen. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you for UFC 303. Peace.